Welcome to Statesman, the podcast where we explore all 50 states with our five senses. If you've come here for history, we'll give you some. But most of this is half-baked opinion that is never intended to harm or offend anyone. Today, we explore a state where everything is an itsy-bitsy and teeny-weeny reflection of its parent country at large. Measuring in at 12,407 square miles, America in miniature contains a varietal mishmash of gorgeous geographic and topological features that resemble tiny American pockets from the chino pants of the Pacific to the button-up dress shirt of the ocean Atlantic, including choice mountains, creeks, a prominent lack of lakes given its non-existent glacial history, and over 4,000 miles of brackish water coastline. Like most states, Little America was charted in 1632 as a safe haven and veritable utopia that devoutly preached tolerance for Catholics and people of all religious creeds fleeing persecution from Anglican England. Like the slow disillusionment to and failure of the greater American dream, this mini-American experiment was shattered only 10 years after its formation when armed conflict known as Plundering Time against Catholics, brought on by Protestants and Puritans, erupted in 1642, the aftermath resulting in Catholicism being outright banned by 1688. Like America, its original formation is a reflection of good people intending to do good things like promote universal kindness, tolerance, and democracy. But like America, it falls to crabby losers and bad eggs who can't see past the shade of their own eyelids and choose to look at the world through a narrow peephole that rings only discomfort and fear. It's a state of strong deeds and gentle words. We welcome you to Maryland. I'm your older statesman, Tim Ferrari, along with my junior statesman, Anthony Rossi.
If you love land so much, why don't you marry land?
And Stuart Highcar.
I like myself so much, you might as well call me Maryland Manson.
And both of those guys, amazing jokes.
Oh, don't say that. Jesus
coming in
Christ.
so hot.
Yeah, this is a long return to the podcast form.
Yes.
We took a weekend off where we spent time just getting closer to each other. We said that we haven't been spending enough time together, and we went up to Skokie, rented a one-bedroom apartment, and kind of found each other this weekend. Anthony?
And just when I thought we weren't going to lie anymore, that's what exactly Stuart just did.
What?
We didn't spend any time together in
No,
Skokie.
okay. We didn't spend a lot of time together in Skokie, but I was trying to get us off on a good first note of connection and family and friendship. And
absolutely.
I mean, that does connect a lot to our state, right?
I don't know. We haven't gotten into the state yet.
You're right. We shouldn't be talking states. We should be talking
Each other.
Statesmen. Yeah.
That's
Anthony,
true.
how was your week?
We've all been busy boys lately. We haven't really had much overlap here at the apartment. We've all been working different schedules and doing different things. So it's good to see you guys.
Yeah, Anthony, I feel like I haven't seen you for like the past 4, maybe 5 days.
Yeah, only for like an hour or so at a time.
Yeah.
I'll be like in and out.
Yeah.
Just running around, enjoying this beautiful weather we have here.
Oh, yeah. And for the listener at home, you can't see this, but Anthony's in full rugby gear right now. He doesn't play the sport, but he loves the way it looks in the sunlight.
Nothing like a good scrum.
Time
Time to get muddy, baby.
I have been up since 4 a.m. And last night I didn't get to bed until 12 at night.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a little crabby. I'm a little angry. I'm a little sweaty already. So
Well, that's good because
yeah.
But what I want you to know is that you're not alone in that. I also got very little
That's true.
sleep. I just revealed before we started recording that I slept on the floor of Tim and I's shared bathroom. I'm a little bit hungover, and I'm also starting to sweat so much, so quick too.
Yeah,
What's going on?
We were used to it. We were used to our air conditioning, and then we just shut it off right before we recorded, and it's now becoming.
Oh yeah,
It's also hot outside.
Excruciatingly
and this
hot.
room specifically has no insulation whatsoever.
I hate to call back to an earlier episode, but our Pepsi thermometer on the wall has broken since we last read it. It got up to 100 million degrees centigrade, I think, and
believe
exploded.
that's what it says, but it has since exploded.
Yeah, so we won't be able to check the temperature throughout this episode.
I'm being bathed in natural light, which normally I would be fine with, but right now it's, I might wind up with a Two-Face style sunburn.
What? Jesus
All right,
Christ.
Walking's in trouble. But
Well, along with our three faces, how about we introduce the fourth face into this podcast? Let's welcome our guest. He's a performer and comedian around Chicago. Please welcome to the show, Derry MacDermott.
Hello, boys.
Hello.
Don't clap. Don't do that. Hello.
Thanks for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
It's really nice to have a semi-familiar face in the Stu studio. I've seen you perform only a few times with the crowd, but
Yeah.
I know that you're fucking hilarious.
Thank
and
you. I'll
we're
take
excited
it.
to have you on.
Normally, we stroke egos at the end of the podcast, but we are doing things a little bit backwards today.
Hey, that's like Maryland.
A little bit
not.
backwards.
No, it's not. I don't know.
No,
what I'm
that's
saying.
exciting. I mean, so you're from Maryland originally.
Yeah, I was born the suburbs of Baltimore. Where I grew up is very bizarre.
Ooh.
Which we can get into later or now, whatever you want.
Let's do it right.
Let's
then.
let's
now.
drop
Now?
some hints now, and we'll get into the details later.
Okay. I grew up in Maryland. It's really bizarre because you don't really reference where you're from by the town you're from.
Mhm.
But it's I'm from Howard County. You reference the county you're from.
Right.
Oh, okay.
While
Because there's
doing-
only 18 of them,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
There's,
something
so
it's very
little.
small, maybe even 15. So
Dang.
I'm from Howard County,
right.
Hoco, as you call it.
Hoco?
Hoco?
Cool.
Not at all. And and so it's been listed in the past couple of years as literally the second or third most affluent county in America. It's
Wow.
because it's a lot of Washington people. Because I live in between Washington and Baltimore, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of Washington
Runoff.
squares
Right.
who want their kids to go to really good schools, live where I'm from. So it's a lot of really
Oh.
rich people, but then a lot of people who pretend to be country and hicks because they think it's cool. My high school is so bizarre, and I actually grew up on a farm, so I'm
What?
I'm a real farm boy.
That's
which I
so
hate.
strange
Wow.
that anybody would want to pretend
Oh,
to be a
it's
hick.
awful. Kids wear camo and they're they do the chew and they do all that. Then they go home to 7-story mansion and they're hey, mom and dad,
Oh.
make me a dinner.
See, that fucking sucks. That's awful.
I hate it. And I didn't really realize it in retrospect until I really moved out of Maryland and went to school somewhere else. And I was yeah, that's weird.
Mhm.
Like I
That's
grew up
weird.
with a lot of kids who I think took a lot of pride in that sort of redneck stereotype of
Redneck, yeah.
trucking and that sort
Yeah.
of thing. But a lot of them did use their trucks to haul things.
I mean,
you know?
there are people who would drive their tractor to school, and the tractor had the metal balls hanging from it, which
Sick.
it was-
Fuck yeah.
Oh,
Truck nuts.
Yeah,
We've attached a pair to our table here today while we
Yeah,
record.
that's my gift to you guys. I brought that for you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So
it was awful.
you grew up in Hoco.
Yeah.
Where is that sort of in the layout of the state? Because I know it sort of looks like a clamp or something.
It looks
right?
like a gun, kind of.
Oh boy. We're getting into
watch
it
out.
early. Okay.
Watch out. Yeah, it's kind of in the middle. Baltimore is essentially the middle, and then we're a little bit west, east, or east.
Inland or towards the ocean?
Out, not towards the ocean. Inland.
West,
I'm really bad with
right,
geography.
right.
West of us.
Generally west.
Yeah, but not super, super west. Yeah.
So did you grow up your whole life in that same sort of county before you left for school?
Yeah, I was born in Baltimore County, which is
Okay.
right outside of Baltimore. Then I moved there when I was 5 or something. So
Hot
essentially.
damn. So you're a
Hot
full
damn.
native.
Oh, full. Yep. Yeah. My parents are from Ireland, so they moved to America and they lived in Kentucky and Florida. And then my parents work with horses.
Oh, wow.
So so
Equestrian background.
equestrian background. And so they settled in Maryland because it's a really big horse area. My dad's a blacksmith.
Is that true?
They
That is 100% true. Yeah.
It's a horse area.
I mean, it's the Preakness and Pimlico.
Yeah,
Pimlico is
that's
in
true. I
Maryland.
guess.
Yeah.
Have you
So-
ever heard of Cavalier?
No.
That's the horse ballet. I don't
Oh,
know.
sure.
I think it tours the world. It's the only
Oh,
horse
sure.
event I really am interested in.
Have you-
I grew up very fuck. Okay, I say bad words on this.
Yeah,
Okay.
oh, hell yeah.
Fuck horses. I was always the kid. I was I'm gonna go inside. My sister would go play with horses and whatever, and I'd be I'm gonna go inside and read or play my Game Boy. I'm I don't want to do this.
Fuck horses.
It smells so bad. My dad would go home and smell so bad because he worked with horses.
Sure.
That's normal. And I'd be go take a shower. Like, what are you doing? Like, why do you want to smell like this? And I'm like, oh God.
What a strange point of shame.
I know. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm getting out of this one street town.
Well, guys, maybe this is a good time for me to reveal. I have a lifelong, very deep fear of horses.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I think they're the only animal that we have subjugated that could at any point just murder us dead.
They are very strong.
They are very strong, and all we do to them is put weight on their backs, and that's like it, you know? And all we're doing is preparing some sort of species to come and trample us all and take what is ours.
I don't think we just put weight on their backs. We also braid their hair and make them look pretty.
That's true. I guess, you know what? Now that I'm starting to think about it, you're right. That does sort of...
We also pluck their hairs for like bows for violins and cellos.
Right. We turn their feet into glue and we hammer metal onto them when we want them to go faster.
Yeah, it's
you know, in Maryland, there's actually an island where feral horses exist.
Ashertink, it's like that Ashertink.
My greatest nightmare is to be left on an island full of feral horses.
We're gonna buy a private plane to drop you off on the feral horse island.
Putting the mayor in nightmare, huh?
Okay, very cool.
Okay. I was once punched in the chest by a horse.
That makes no sense.
Now, you said punch, so
I said punched. I guess more accurately, like nose bumped.
Yeah.
Very aggressively. It was
you were in the boxing ring and you were going toe to toe round 2.
Yes. So I too am from a horse town, but I'm from upstate New York, Saratoga Springs.
Yeah, my dad goes there all the time.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
I bet your dad has met Anthony's dad.
That'd be kinda cool.
I bet they've rubbed elbows, but it's a big horse town, and my sister did grow up riding, and she was like always connected with this really small kind of forlorn horse who always liked to be alone.
Cool. I'm really starting to connect with this horse.
She had a connection. She had a deep connection with the horse, and I can't remember its name right now, but it was like small and white, and it had kind of like a milky eye situation. Hey man,
sorry,
don't judge a book by its cover. It was a sweet seeming little horse, but it was definitely shy. And one time I thought I had earned its trust enough to pet it, and I tried to be very gentle, and it stepped forward and slammed its nose into my solar plexus, and I was just like completely out of breath, and I felt so betrayed, and I went and like reported the horse to
hold on.
And it
you
got
fucking narc. What did you do? Why did you do that? Horse is dead.
It got domed.
When
and
a
turned
milky
into glue.
eye horse gets reported for violence, it doesn't stick around, Anthony.
No, I mainly was just like, is this normal? Like, does this happen?
Well, regardless of how we are treated by horses, Derry, I want to ask you how you're treated by people.
Oh, wow.
In these two different locations, you see, we try and ask all of our guests, what's the kind of big differences you see between people here in Chicago, the Midwest, heart of the Midwest, big city, and where you're from in Maryland?
Yeah, it's a very, I mean, like I mentioned, it's a very kind of like hoity-toity. When you're removed from it, you realize that. And everybody's like pretty nice. They're pretty friendly. Like it's cool. But like the thing that I went to school in Pennsylvania. So like when I was in Pennsylvania, you realize like people from Maryland have so much goddamn Maryland pride. It's insane.
Huh.
It's like, it's weird. Like maybe it's just where I'm from, but like people are wearing like the Maryland flag is like the biggest deal to Marylanders. You know what I mean? Like I went to college and I was like missing Maryland. So I got a Maryland iPhone case and I was like, look where I'm from. Like it's so stupid. Like, why did I do that?
Everything.
I changed everything about myself. Like I don't know who I am. And yeah, it's like people like take real pride in being Maryland. Like basketball shorts that are like Maryland, like flags on it, and like even like people don't like go into like Baltimore that much. It's not like the city of Chicago where people just like really go in and hang out. It's like it's a very small part of Baltimore that people like go into, just like for like tourism. But like people are like, oh yeah, I'm from Baltimore, when people have literally never been to Baltimore before.
I think Maryland is a smaller state, just in terms of like square footage.
Yeah.
And I think when I do think of people from there, I do for some reason tie it into sort of this Massachusetts pride. They're not prideful of the same states, but they have this like fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm a Dundalk freak, and I love this state, and Baltimore's my city, and I'm like, I don't know why I have that image in my head, but that's like just always
No, that makes
survived for
sense.
me.
It makes sense. I
Inter-
get that.
I don't know. Well, you know what? Maybe I'm bringing in some ideas I've already formed, but maybe they'll be thrown away and changed by our segments today.
Yeah, I really didn't have much of an opinion on Maryland coming in. I didn't really know what to expect, and I feel like I've learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to learning more and kind of picking it apart a little bit.
Honestly,
Well,
me too.
Let's dive in with our five senses then. So, as always, we're going to explore Maryland with our five senses of perception, and we're going to do that starting with smell. But before we get into the smell segment, I believe Stuart has a game.
That is right.
Oh God.
Now, imagine yourself on a ship. Windy oceans crossings, England to the New World. Salt water sprays your nose, and your belly hungers for more than salted meats.
Today, we will be playing Scary Harry Carey, Maryland.
Oh my!
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Yes, we are. I'm very confident about this game.
Wow.
And my intro was connected to it, and we're all super psyched about this game. This is to break things down. When we have a game segment on Statesman, Anthony and I will often sort of ping pong puns around for the title of the state and try and figure out a game that can sort of tie into it. It's a real work backwards approach to creating content.
Mhm.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But Maryland,
Mine always work.
well, Maryland is one in which I found an embarrassment of riches. Maryland, think of all the things that rhyme with the first half and the
Yeah.
second half of that state. I mean, Derry, your name.
Oh yeah, Derry, Mary, yeah.
More or less.
People don't say Maryland, it's Maryland.
Maryland.
It's Maryland.
Maryland.
Sure.
But when it's the way it's spelled, yeah.
Right, and the game is pronounced Scary Harry Carey, Maryland. So,
Oh, man.
yeah, and we'll get there.
Scary Harry.
Yes. Well, I mean, I don't want to have to break down each category, but how this game will work essentially is I have 4 red solo cups in front of me, and inside each are choices. Incredible choices of Maryland specifics, whether that be in the category of scary, Harry, Carrie, or Mary. Now,
Like Harry Carey, the
no.
Oh,
Harry
okay.
is in like the hair on your head, and Carrie is in like the things that we carry.
Oh, I think Jim Carrey. Okay.
Okay.
Well, you know what? We'll get into it. So
I can't wait.
I'm going to pass our first cup around. Derry, feel free. Just grab one of the pieces of paper out
Okay.
there. Keep it to yourself. You can look at it and pass it on. I will not be playing in this, but essentially what this game is going to show is your Maryland life. We had MASH. It was Massachusetts, I believe, which was a great way of deciding it based on only the fates. But this one is based on your own choices.
Okay.
So we have all received something scary that will be associated with in Maryland. So, Derry, let's start with you. What did you get?
I just say it out loud.
You should just tell us.
Okay. Don't waste any more time. Dr. Mudd's Haunted Home Hospital.
Ooh.
That is kind of
That is kinda
spooky.
scary.
You guys know what that is?
No.
Well, okay. Well, Dr. Mudd was the guy who reset Lincoln's assassin, John Wilkes Booth, right? He killed Lincoln, jumped from the balcony, broke his leg. Dr. Mudd was a local doctor who hid him
right.
inside. That's where the phrase, his name is Mudd, comes from. It's Dr. Mudd, because after this, he got jail time for helping a man who killed the president, and his family, his lineage was forever burdened. So
I've heard about that guy.
what's interesting about Dr. Mudd's house is that sometimes you can still hear wails and moans from people being operated on. Now, are those the wails of Dr. Mudd himself? Or possibly the wails of John Wilkes?
Wow.
Ooh,
Okay, so
okay,
what's the
great.
game, Stu?
Okay, well, we're going to move on to Anthony. What scary thing did you get about Maryland?
I'm sorry if it takes me a few attempts to read this because
My handwriting isn't good.
My teeth are chattering
Oh,
from fear. I'm seeing the Goat Man of Fletchertown Road.
ooh, Anthony, you have to hang out with the Goat Man. Is this a genetic abomination created by the government? Or a cursed goat farmer seeking revenge for his killed crop?
What?
Either way, visitors have seen a half goat, half man covered in blood,
Oh.
and he's been known to decapitate dogs and scare teens parked in deserted areas.
That is really actually frightening.
It would be terrifying to come across him, but
Mm.
you're going to have to in this game.
Oh, so this is detailing our lives in Maryland.
Okay.
I guess the rules of the game are ever changing, but it's a learning game, but it's also like becomes your Maryland life.
Okay, you're
Yeah,
assigning me my life.
Yeah. So
Okay,
Derry has
gotcha.
to live in Dr. Mudd's hospital. What is it?
Dr. Mudd's haunted home hospital.
Right. Anthony has to live in Fletcherton and hang out with the Goat Man. So what is your scary place of residence?
My scary place is the Fort McHenry Hyper Haunting.
The
That
Fort
sounds fun.
McHenry
That's
Hyper
famous.
Haunting, of course.
Hyper
That's
Haunting.
right. The infamous place where Francis Scott Key wrote the national anthem. Well, now it's haunted by a Confederate soldier who floats down the halls at night and appears with the mysterious smell of gunpowder.
Oh,
Wow.
how is that hyper in any way? That's that sounds pretty
The
manageable
Fort
to me.
McHenry Hyper Haunting. Well, guys, let's move on to our second category.
I'm happy there are 3 more.
The Scary Harry Carey Maryland game will, of course, move on to category 2, which is Harry. That's right. And this is the place that you will have to get all of your haircuts in Maryland.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Now we all have
I think I know this place. which
Oh
is
well, that's
wild.
good. That's good. Keep keep them to yourself,
Okay.
guys. And I just want to make this clear. This means a monthly haircut coming into this place, and you're going to tip as well. So,
Right.
Derry, why don't you go ahead and start and tell us where you're going to have to get your haircut?
Great. Sports Clips haircuts of Frederick and Westview Village.
Oh, cool. Where's
I know,
that?
I know Frederick. My sister got married in Frederick.
Oh, so you already
pretty
have a
close to me.
connection to. How close do you think that might be to Dr. Mudd's house, or do you think it's a?
I do not care to find out.
Well, you're going to be driving there once a month at least to get your haircut, Derry. I'm sorry, but we do have to move on. Anthony, where are you going to be getting your haircut in Maryland?
Well, I'm doubling down on hair because I've got the Goat Man.
Oh, that's right. You'll have to shave half
Got the
his
Goat Man,
body.
so I'm gonna have to comp his haircuts as well.
Mhm.
Down at the Sports Clips haircuts of Frederick and Clemson Corner.
A different area in Fredericks, but also another sports clip.
And they also specialize in giving the high and tight. So that's what I'm looking for.
You know, Tim, where are you getting your haircut in Maryland?
I'm getting my hair cut, and I'm going to have trouble sitting down because I'm hyper haunted. But I'm going to be getting my haircut at the Sports Clips haircuts
okay.
of Salisbury.
Wow.
On the East Coast.
North Salisbury, I believe. Now, we're all getting your haircut at
At a
Sports Clips. What do you think about that?
I'm really bummed.
I'm not a fan.
I got my haircut at a Sports Clips once, and I'll never go back because it was indeed the worst haircut I'd ever received.
Same, actually. They pushed my hairline back like a full inch.
Well, how does it feel knowing that you'll have to receive a haircut from them once a month?
We don't have to do anything.
I'm okay with tipping. That's fine.
Okay, yeah.
To me, this is scarier than the Goat Man.
Jesus Christ. Well, maybe this will cheer you up.
Cheer me up.
Cheer you up and sit you down. In this next cup is an item that you will carry with you for the rest of time.
Oh, okay.
Now, it is
Wow.
associated with Maryland in some way, but we'll have to figure it out as we go. Anthony, you have yours. Tim, you have yours. Derry, that's the problem with this game is that it's just a slip of the tongue.
Yep.
Derry, what are you going to be carrying in Maryland?
I'm going to be carrying a jousting lance.
Oh, because jousting is the state sport of Maryland.
Whoa.
It is, yeah.
That's right.
I think it'd be lacrosse because
Everybody plays lacrosse. It's very East Coast, but no, for some reason, it's the ancient sport of lacrosse. Oh my God. Guys, how tired. This game is falling apart. It's jousting. Has anyone here ever jousted?
No.
No,
Have
I've
you?
seen it.
Well, you don't get on a horse. There's no way you're getting on a horse.
Not going to get on a horse. I've hand jousted. This was at a Renaissance fair once. Just got kind of hurt. Scrubbed my knee up pretty bad.
Oh.
Anthony, what do you have to carry with you? We got to move through this game because it's, how long has it been? 2 hours?
Yeah.
I've got to carry this podcast because you're tanking the energy. No, I have to carry a natty bow National
yes.
Bohemian Beer.
That's right. The most
sure.
the most famous beer of Maryland, arguably. Derry, this is, at least from my own research,
That's
this
true.
is
That's true.
immensely popular.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Ah,
It's like not. I'm gonna get hate online for this.
Please.
I'm gonna get so much hate. From Maryland.
we'll get the emails. Don't worry.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like a natty ice or whatever that's called. I don't really drink beer, but like, yeah, people love it. It's disgusting.
Interesting. So, and Anthony will have to carry an unopened can for the rest of
Oh, I
time.
can't even take a little sip.
Nope. Tim, what
damn
are
it.
you carrying with you?
I'm actually legitimately excited about carrying this around for the rest of my life. I get to carry around a spooky raven.
Ooh, a raven, like the titular character in Edgar Allan Poe's great poem.
Yes. And he says, "Nevermore."
That's right, Tim. Edgar Allan Poe was from Maryland, and I think he was buried there
Yeah,
as well.
he died
I don't think
there.
he was born in Maryland, but he definitely died
Definitely
in the
died
streets
there.
of Baltimore.
Well, he died on the streets of Baltimore with a raven on his shoulder, and now, Tim, you will have to care for and
Wow.
carry one with you for the rest of time.
Wait, so were the Baltimore Ravens named for
Yes.
Edgar Allan Poe?
Yeah.
I think so.
That
And they
is-
were, and there
that's
were
really
three
cool.
mascots. There was three different like mascots that would run around the stadium, and their names were Edgar Allan and Poe. And now there's
Wow.
only
They were like
Poe.
3 ravens that would run around?
Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
sometimes in the stadium they would let a real raven like fly across the stadium.
What the hell?
It was
What,
pretty cool.
what could go wrong there?
Absolutely
I-
nothing.
They used to be the Colts, and then they
Yep.
moved to Indianapolis, and then they wow.
Hey,
wound
that
up
also
choosing-
makes sense, I guess, because they have an island of feral horses.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on, call back.
But I'm loving that. That's a really cool factoid. I had no idea.
Yeah, I'm glad I could bring it in with my game. So, guys, we have one more category before we're done with this. And it's the Mary in Maryland. But it's not just M-A-R-Y. It's M-A-R-R-Y.
Oh.
Who the hell are you going to get married to and live with for the rest of your days
Heck yeah.
in Maryland? Now, everyone in this cup is a Maryland native, someone from the state, and a pretty big time celeb. So when you open your piece of paper, try not to scream and shout with excitement, right?
I'm covering my mouth right now.
Well, Derry, you have the first, so why don't you tell us, start from the beginning. You're going to be living where?
Great, yeah.
Let's just go all through all 4 of these
Yeah.
and give us the last one at the
So I'm gonna be living in Dr. Mudd's haunted home hospital.
end. Ooh.
Thank God. And once a month, I'll be taking a trip, probably my Toyota, to Sports Club Haircuts of Frederick and Westview Village.
Okay.
And also, I wanna note that all of these papers have an exclamation point at the end of every single one, just to make it exciting.
I'm sorry.
No, it's great. I love it. And then, while in my trunk of my car, I'll have my jousting lance.
Right.
And I will be married to none other than beloved by Germans, David Hasselhoff.
Oh,
Ooh, wow.
The Hoff.
The Hoff
Yeah, a
master.
Maryland classic actor, singer, dancer, angel investor. That's a really good life you're going to live out there.
I'm excited. Thank you.
You get to watch him eat hamburgers in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have to bring up the saddest moment in his. This is Derry's husband you're talking about.
I'm sorry.
Anthony,
Derry.
why don't you take us through your Maryland life?
Okay, so just a reminder, I will be holding a natty bow everywhere I go. I will be getting a nice high and tight dust up every time I go to Sports Clips Haircuts of Frederick Clemson Corner.
Nice.
And I will be in a very comforting thruple with the Goatman of Fletchertown Road and Michael Phelps.
Michael,
Michael
Phelps.
Phelps.
Whoa.
Wow. Two genetic freaks.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
that. I mean that.
You mean
a
that in the
positive-
best of ways.
Right.
No, it's a man who, was born different and was the fastest in water.
A long boy.
Oh, a
You know?
long boy and a loud boy with that goat, I'm sure. Now, Tim, why don't you walk us through your Maryland life?
All right, my Maryland life actually is very exciting. You know, living in the Fort McHenry hyper haunting, I'm really excited about. I'm excited about this hyper ghost who's just going to be singing all the time. I'm not too excited about my sports clips in Salisbury. I'm excited about my spooky raven. But what I'm really excited about is who I'm married to.
Who's that?
It's scary movie starlet
Yep,
Anna
Anna
Faris.
Faris.
Anna
Oh,
Faris.
God, I have it made in
did.
Maryland.
Yeah, Anna Faris, of course, from Maryland, went on to star in some of the best movies of the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and hopefully the 2020s, if Overboard 2, hits projected marks.
And she's a fellow podcaster. So, Anna, if you're out there listening,
Yeah,
come
bring us
down.
on. Did this game convince you that I'm good enough to be on your podcast?
You did a lot of research for this one, Stu. I mean, you had all of the hauntings down.
Thank you.
I was really surprised about how much you pulled.
And it really shows the difference between having research and then having a charisma-filled game,
Yeah,
So, I mean, overall, I think that game was a tremendous success. Of course, you guys can take home those pieces of paper.
Thank God.
God.
Oh my God.
With that, I feel comfortable moving along now that we all have a pretty awesome base knowledge of the
Right.
state of Maryland.
Well, that was stellar, Stuart. And we're gonna move on to the regular segments of the show and talk about Maryland through the five senses. So, in order to do that, we're gonna start out with the smell segment. And for the smell segment, I've prepared for you all a little bit of a Maryland, not a delicacy per se, but certainly something that smells
I know
delicious.
exactly what it is already. without
You
even
already
looking
know
at
what it is. It's a pretty.
I just
pretty
smelled
easy
it.
one.
I also know what it is.
No,
It was
exactly.
the right choice.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my God, I love that smell.
it is.
Oh my God.
It's a tasty smell. It's herbal. It's spicy.
Mhm.
What other kind of notes are you pulling out of this? We haven't even told them what it is, but what other kind of notes are you pulling out of this?
I mean, salt, obviously. There's a salty undertone
Yeah.
to it
Yeah.
all. Derry, are you picking up anything in there?
Get that paprika in there. That
Yeah.
smells really good.
Everything you said. I mean, it just God. Not only does it smell good, it's just the memories,
I feel like
Oh God.
I kind of feel like
Wow.
normally associated with this smell, I want like a greasy French fry or something
yeah.
next to it. I think that kind of pops up the smell. But Tim, maybe it's time to reveal
Sure.
what we're smelling.
So we're smelling. It's McCormick and Company's very own Old Bay seasoning.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Old Bay seasoning is made and produced in Baltimore, Maryland. It's something that everybody puts on seafood and
Sure is.
sometimes fries and stuff like that. I didn't even know that this shit existed.
It
Whoa.
is so good. That's like a Maryland pride thing. It's Old Bay is you put that shit on everything.
It
and
smells
it's-
so good.
It's shockingly good on
It's
like
so
everything
good.
it goes on.
Right.
It's mainly for crabs.
yeah,
For sure.
Yeah, and my sister grew up every year. I have a twin sister, and so we would always celebrate our birthday. This is ridiculous now that I'm saying this, I'm processing it.
Oh no.
We would have our birthday together every year, and she loved crabs. And I don't really like crabs, having a crab feast, picking, what I mean,
Mhm.
eating it. And we would have it every year. Didn't really like crabs, so we always had a crab feast for our birthday. And I would always be like, okay, that's fine.
Oh, Derry. It was your birthday too.
Yeah, well, it's fine.
So this reminds you of.
It's okay.
of
So this
your
reminds you
sister.
of being,
Sad.
the second child.
Yeah,
You know?
the second child, even though we were born at the exact same time. Yeah.
Wait, you guys were born at the same
no,
time?
we were 1 minute apart.
Who was born first?
My sister.
Oh.
My sister?
I know we shouldn't be talking about it, but have twins ever been born at the same time? Is it possible medically?
Maybe if they had a C-section. It's,
Yeah,
one at the same
yeah.
time.
Although, yeah, you'd have to get two hands in there.
Yeah.
And excuse, this is horribly gory, but two hands in there and scoop two of them out at
Yeah.
the same time. I don't know how that works.
Well, we're
So
four,
Old Bay
four men sitting here discussing birth possibilities, but we're looking at this Old Bay seasoning. What I'm noticing is that it's sort of like a nice tannish red color, but Derry, you're saying this mostly goes on blue crabs?
Blue crabs? I mean, yeah, when you steam them, though, they're not blue. Not blue, Stewie.
Stu.
Do you know anything?
I'm so dumb.
But I think this is a versatile spice. You can put it on
Absolutely.
any kind of meat
Everything.
and just liven it up. It's like a real hack because it's just so many spices combined into one.
and you mean that as like a life hack as opposed to like a hack on stage or something, right?
No, I think it's a hack fucking move to throw that spice on there. It's like learn to season to taste.
So, Derry, are there any other smells of Maryland that you would normally associate with the state, or is Old Bay seasoning just about as far as you can go?
That's the main one. I'm happy you pulled it out, man.
All right.
Happy you pulled it out.
I want to give a quick shout out to a boss I had in high school. Her name was Julie. She was the loveliest woman in the world, and I worked at her like little burger ice cream shop. And the reason that this place stayed open was because she had a secret seasoning for the fries. And I learned as I quit that she's like, it is just Old Bay. It's just, I just put Old Bay on the fries. She's from Maryland. And I was like, what could it be? What is this flavor? But
Well-
I think anyone who came there from the East Coast immediately knew.
Yeah, sorry, Julie, your business is now fucked.
Yeah, don't worry. She sold it when I quit because the spirit was gone.
Well, I know it's a smell segment, but I have yet to taste this stuff. Does anyone else want to,
Yeah,
get a
and
little
the
finger
best
dab
way
and-
to taste it is just totally dry without any food, right?
Now I've got a whole bunch of this on my finger.
Got a nice
we're passing
print.
the bowl around, and I think we're all just gonna suck on our fingers for a little bit on mic.
It's so good.
Wow, holy shit, that is really good.
It's got a
good.
kick to
Oh
it,
my
but
God.
immediately I'm like, oh, I've got a big bucket of crabs.
Oh my god, that is so good.
So,
Yeah.
like the chip company Utz
Yes.
is from Baltimore based as well,
Yes.
Whoa.
which is really cool. We had a field trip there when I was in elementary
To
school.
the Utz
The
factory?
Utz factory.
That's
Oh,
dope.
I hope you got to sit in a bag and take a picture.
Oh my god. We did. Yes.
Derry, what were you gonna tell
Oh,
us?
no, it's fine. And there's a flavor Utz chip that's Old Bay flavor, and you can really only get it in Maryland area, like adjacent areas, and they're my favorite chips in the entire world. They're so good. But
Dang.
if you eat the entire bag, your mouth is just fucking ripped up because it's so like a spice that you're not supposed to eat so much of. You know
For
what I mean?
sure. I mean, just with that little finger thing,
It
like
gets ya.
it's not hot. It just like kicks you in the back of the head
Yeah.
with like a flavor that you don't taste unless it's coming out of a big tin bucket.
Yeah, it's good.
Anthony is just staring at me. What?
No, it's because I did have a note about Utz, and I didn't expect it to come up this early, but NBC is like moving a lot of their production there, so they're taking on some branding from local companies. So they're actually rolling out their show, This Is Utz. Guys, ensemble dramas.
No,
All right.
absolutely. They're gonna have some trouble getting that name trademarked, considering Jordan Peele's great summer. Utz.
Nuts.
As
But
well.
Old Bay seasoning is a real like powerful punch to the mouth.
Yeah,
I love it.
it's hitting the back of my throat.
We
right
need
now.
to figure out a way to grade these segments, though, right?
Yeah, I have something.
Okay, go for it.
Out of Derry, out of 40 teeth of an adult male horse,
Great.
how many teeth?
Hold on.
How many teeth?
An adult horse has 40 teeth?
It has 40 teeth and they're all flat. Out of 40 teeth of an adult male horse, how many teeth does this smell get?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
38.
30.
Wow.
Wow, that is a
Nice.
solid
38.
score.
And all he wants for Christmas is 2 front teeth.
Well, I have nearly a full mouth of teeth for my smell, and that's a rousing success.
Yeah.
So now we're going to explore Maryland with not our nose, but with our eyes. So Anthony has a visual presentation that he's prepared for us, and Anthony, I'm just gonna let you take it away.
Hell yeah. All right, so I'm really excited for this one. I didn't know what to expect when I was doing my research. Now, granted, I don't do a ton of research. I keep it pretty surface level.
Whatever,
so,
dude. You get deep and dirty with these
All
states.
right, but yeah, there are some exciting things in here. So here we just have the name of the state. Looks good on paper. Let's move on to the next slide.
Yeah, it's cute.
Here's the state
Yeah,
outline, and
yeah.
as you were saying earlier, it does kind of look like a gun, maybe like
yeah.
a Tommy gun.
If you put like your hand like in where the Chesapeake Bay is,
Oh, sure.
Mhm.
I remember we had in elementary school a big puzzle map of all the states, and some kid, I think it was like 3rd grade, took the Maryland. It was big and like pretended to be a gun and got suspended for it.
Oh my
Whoa.
god.
He has to be. That kid is a danger to society. What I'm shocked by is that this state looks like a gun, and all those fat cat politicians living inside of it can't recognize that we need common sense gun control.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can't see anything else other than the gun. Like it is.
Yeah.
This is a fucking weird ass state.
It's so weird. It's such a weird shape.
It's jagged.
Yeah. Do you know anything about the history of the northern borders and like
Absolutely not.
that shit is weird.
This must have been a time when like in any other history, this state is split into like 3 different places, and it's just joined into other states, right? Because like it definitely sort of looks like 3 separate areas of land that are just barely connected by this northern strip.
Yeah, it's wild.
And so the on the right hand side, there's like kind of that like there's a thing going up. No, like that's like the Chesapeake Bay,
That's
right?
the Chesapeake Bay, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And at the top of that, you said that's the Blue Crab Mansion? That's where they all hang and live out?
I never... Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah.
It's not on the map, but I didn't realize how close Washington D.C. was to like the border of
Washington D.C. is like technically, God, I can never remember. It's in either Virginia or Maryland. I can't remember which one it's in.
It's I think within the borders of Virginia, but it is its own state.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
guess.
DMV is very closely linked.
Mm-hmm.
The DMV.
DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia.
Oh, here I was thinking about the Department of Motor Vehicle Transportation.
You always are.
Hey, get your thoughts off
Sorry,
of that.
guys. I'm just
Thinking about
waiting.
highways.
I love lines.
What's next, Anthony?
Okay, so here we have
Oh, shit.
the craziest state flag we've
There
seen
it
on the
is.
show.
I'm telling you, they love it.
Yeah, no wonder they love fucking jousting. This is like a
This is
a
really
knights
medieval.
errant flag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very cool.
So, does anyone want to just take a crack at describing this on a pure visual basis?
I don't think it's that hard. It looks a lot like those like naval sea flags that you see, you know? Have you guys ever seen those?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, like in the top left and bottom right, you've got Charlie Brown colors, and in the bottom left and top right, you have these sort of cool cross stars, peppermint delights. I love this flag.
It's so strange. It's got like it's angular squares in the top left and right, and I like it.
Yeah, so what this represents, these are actually like the colors in the shield from the emblem of the Calvert Crosstown families. So Sir George Calvert was an English settler. He was the first Lord of Baltimore, and he requested the royal charter to settle Maryland, but he died before it was actually signed. So he left the area to his family and kind of gave the area its settlement start.
Hey, what if I did this real quick? The Lord of Baltimore.
Oh, wow,
I liked it.
hairspray.
Okay, thank you. Derry, what do
I
you
like
think
that.
of this flag?
I love it.
It looks cool. I understand why you'd want to put this on a phone case.
Yeah, it's like I'm telling you, like you do not understand. When you go to Maryland, if you ever have the pleasure, kind of going, like you're gonna see this shit everywhere. It's wild.
I think a positive it has is because it has 2 sort of state flags almost.
Yep.
There's 2 different designs with 2 different color patterns. You can kind of make it match anywhere, right? Like it can look good on shorts with this sort of like crossed yellow-black, yellow jacket kind of thing. Or it can look good hanging from an overpass saying, hey, drive safe for Maryland,
Yep,
you know?
I want to stencil this into the side of my head from my haircuts at Sports Clips.
Oh, they
You
will
know-
not be
I love
able to do that.
much like Old Bay seasoning, it's just such a hearty combination of like different things that come together to create a really flavorful and intense, powerful representation of the state.
And immensely unique, you know, just like Old Bay. I don't think I get this flavor from any other
Yeah.
flag we've seen.
Seriously, this is by far the most unique.
And Derry did just stick his finger back into the Old
I
Bay
did.
seasoning. And I think even looking at this flag, I think we should do it again.
Another Bay dip.
Another dipping.
I love to dip with Bay.
I'm going in.
Oh boy,
Oh yeah, here we go.
get in there.
That's another suck.
It's so good.
Man. Oh, that one was salty. That was a
Yeah,
that was a
It gets
salty
you
lick.
sometimes.
Some of the powder shot into my throat and
Yeah.
I almost choked.
Anthony, are you sure you don't want to snort any of this? You're sort of
You know, why not?
no,
Please,
don't do that.
no,
Don't
no.
actually.
Oh,
do that.
Anthony, there's
it's gonna
paprika in there.
shut you down for the episode,
No, I'll do it.
probably.
Anthony-
Okay.
Oh my god.
Oh my god!
Wait, that's real. That's not a bit.
Yeah,
That
no,
really
I
just
did it.
happened.
He does it every time.
Not
every
every
time there's a
time.
spice, there's
Not
a
every time.
There's a great episode where Anthony snorted Tabasco, and for the rest of the episode, he's very clearly having trouble.
We're already sweating in this over 500 million
Oh,
degree room.
My
I am
God.
feeling good.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll keep going.
Yeah, let's move on to the next
Jesus
slide.
Christ.
Okay.
All right, here we have the
Yes.
state bird, the Baltimore Oriole, and I have to say, I think this is a contender for the best state bird.
This
God.
bird is cute, chunky, and colorful.
Huge.
I love
so
it.
cute.
Here's what's really crazy. It matches perfectly with one of the halves of the state flag,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Black and yellow.
Black and yellow,
Black and yellow.
black
It's
and
more-
yellow.
I hate
Sorry.
to be this guy, but it is more orange.
It is orange.
It's
Black and
orange.
Okay,
black
well,
and
no,
orange.
Black
there's
and
definitely
orange.
some yellow.
Yeah,
on there.
I mean-
in the highlights for sure.
Well, the Orioles colors, of course. I mean, you have the baseball team.
Orioles.
Do they represent anything else in Maryland? Are they all around, Derry?
Honestly, I don't know if I've ever seen one.
What?
Maybe. I honestly, I'm not a big bird person, so I haven't really looked.
That's fair.
But do you want to hear a fun thing?
Yes.
So when you do the national anthem at any sporting event in like Baltimore or Maryland, because the Baltimore Orioles, you call them the O's.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
So you know the part of the national anthem where it goes, "Oh, say does," everybody goes, "Oh!"
Oh,
so like,
hell yeah.
That's
if
fun.
you're like anywhere, like,
Fuck
and you're,
yes.
it's so. It's kind of stupid, but like if you like are in like go to like a Cubs game and you hear like an "oh," you know they're from Baltimore or Maryland.
Oh,
So like when Michael
say-
Phelps was in the Olympics, like people would go, "Oh," like from in like wherever they were, like Tokyo. or
That's
whatever.
pretty fun.
I think it's kind of cool.
That is
Hell
pretty
yeah.
I
cool.
think that is a fun thing. I think this is a unique bird, and we haven't seen it yet, but it does
It's
have
cute.
such a fun color scheme,
Yeah,
particularly.
seriously.
I'm super into it. I was talking about this a little bit before the podcast. This is a piece of very interesting content that I hope you guys will enjoy. Recently, an item has come up for bid on the internet that is a painting of an Oriole bird signed by former Orioles third baseman Cal Ripken Jr.
Mhm.
Now, he's a bit of a hero in the state, but this painting was done by serial killer John Wayne Gacy. It is a very interesting piece of American history. I hope it goes into the Smithsonian. I don't know why someone owns that fucking thing, but I want it, and I'm starting a Kickstarter. I think it was like $9,000
Yeah.
last time I checked. So check
Cheap.
that out online.
Yeah,
Wild.
I guess we'll start up the Kickstarter for this episode to buy you the John Wayne Gacy painting of the Oriole.
Yeah, and if you guys want to donate, just go ahead and send us an email with how much you want to then Venmo us, and we'll send you back our Venmo name on email.
Yeah, and
Great.
our email is statesmanpodcast@gmail.com. And also, you can look at all of these PowerPoints on the Instagram at Statesman Podcast.
Oh, that's
that.
right. Yeah, if you're not seeing this live, what are you doing?
Yeah, you fucking idiots.
All right.
Check out these birds.
We shouldn't do that. We're not. Come on.
Fucking morons.
All right, so
Oh yeah.
we've moved on to the state flower. Here we have the black-eyed Susan. It is a yellow flower with a weird, like hairy kind of ring in the middle that's like brown, black. It looks almost like a sunflower in a way, but with like a hairy navel in the middle.
Anthony, you can't describe a flower as having a hairy brown ring.
Okay, is that not an apt description of what you're seeing before you?
I mean, you're correct. It does look. I mean, isn't that what all flowers look like in the middle? Like, don't they all have that little like pop? If you get
This one's especially like fuzzy. It looks like a caterpillar
Yeah.
rolled up.
I understand.
Are these a pretty common flower in
Yeah.
Maryland?
You see, I mean, I don't think they're. I do not know if they are like naturally grown there, but like people plant them to be like Maryland Pride.
Where does that name come from, Anthony?
who
I
is
see you
Susan?
trying to lean your head back to Anthony. How's that Old Bay
I'm-
going in your nose?
No regrets. I'm doing great. I'm very wide awake now.
Your glasses are fogging up.
All right. Well, Jesus Christ. I didn't realize I would be judged for.
Well, you're going to be judged at the end of the segment out of horse teeth. But
Absolutely.
That name, Black-Eyed
fair.
Susan, where does that come from?
I looked up the etymology, and it is not really clear where it came from. It just is basically face value. The flower has a black eye.
Yeah. I
Now
bet it was like a colloquial thing that
sure.
had
The-
a bad folk tale.
Yeah, these were originally like used for medicinal purposes,
Oh,
but now they're just aesthetically pleasing? Question mark.
Kind
I
of.
don't know.
I think they're,
they're
cute.
okay.
They're cute. Yeah, they're cute.
They're
Yeah.
fine. I think they look a little plain to me.
I don't want to touch the hairy button.
Yeah,
I
that
agree.
really freaks me out a little bit.
But if I was a little bumblebee, I'd want to rub my butt all over it.
There you go.
Thank you, Derek.
I like that.
What's next, Tony?
All
there
right.
she is.
so we've got Baltimore here. A very colorful shot, I must
Yeah,
say.
truly. Nice
Um,
sunset
Gotta
going
be
on.
fake.
This is fucking fake.
No, it does look a little a little enhanced with computer filters and stuff. But I don't know. This is a fair shot of the downtown area.
A lot bigger than I thought.
Yeah, it's got like I don't have the number written down, but it's got it is the most populous city by far, and it's got a population of over 600,000 people.
Oh, 1,000. Whoa. Whoa. I thought you were just going to say 600.
Yeah, 600. It's a tiny state.
I think this is a nice sort of city. Do any of these buildings stand out to you, Derry, as like, well, first off, I guess, did you visit Baltimore a lot as a kid?
I'm not really. I mean, I would go in for like games and stuff.
How far were you?
I was like maybe like 25 minutes from Baltimore, 25 minutes from Washington. Like we were pretty like even,
right in the
even
middle.
in the middle. But we would go to Baltimore more often. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's a very small pocket of like tourism, and the rest is like actual like residential living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this sort of the touristy area that we're looking at? This looks sort of
The
walkable.
Inner Harbor.
The Inner
Yeah.
Harbor is what it's called.
Yeah.
That's like where the aquarium is, which is like arguably the best aquarium in America.
Really?
Fight me.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you say that?
I mean, it's just like considered.
just like
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got like that reputation.
Oh,
It's
really?
a really, really nice aquarium.
Well,
It's
our
huge.
aquarium in Denver has tigers in it.
That makes
That makes
absolutely
What? That makes perfect sense, guys. They love water.
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Still.
Oh man.
Does Denver really have tigers in it?
Yeah, they have like a glass box with tigers in it, and I always think
That's
it's
fucked
so
up.
sad.
That is
But
fucked up.
weird.
well, hey, dude, I think it's fucking rad. So let's talk Baltimore. Is there like the small Inner Harbor is where tourists go, but is
Yeah.
there anything there that you would be like, ooh, if I'm going into the city, I want to do this like one thing, or are those like the touristy attractions?
They're probably the touristy stuff. I mean, the aquarium is like probably the most recognizable thing that people like check out because it's really good.
Well, no fish about it. I'm excited to visit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Let's move on to the second most populous city here, Columbia. And
That's where I'm from.
oh wow.
Yeah,
wow.
essentially.
Oh,
Columbia.
amazing.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, as you can see, the jump from most populous to second most populous is already a huge downsize. We have basically just a waterfront here, and then one strip of buildings, and
Yeah.
then it looks pretty flat otherwise.
Yeah, so like our mall is like right over there. I know you can't see if you're listening, but over
on the
there.
right hand side of the picture.
Yeah, and like these are sort of like restaurants and stuff, and it's really not a big. It's actually very up and coming. Like it's getting really like redesigned right now.
Yeah, so wait, is this Hoko?
Yeah, this is in Howard County.
Oh man, this is gorgeous. If you like,
Yeah.
I think that combination of sort of like forest that stretches on as far as the eye can see, mixed with I assume this is like bayside living. Is this a bay or a river or a
I
lake?
honestly do
or-
not know.
Whatever it is, I like this town.
Yeah, there's like a little sailboat, and I'm happy.
Yeah, they used to have like little dragon boats you can take out. You know, like the ones where you can like pedal with your feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There, yeah.
Well,
I went on a date
single-family
there one
boats.
time.
Ugh.
Oh, hell
God.
yeah.
I think so. Is there anything? Let's talk malls.
Let's talk malls.
I grew up near malls.
Do we
Yeah.
have to?
I'm famously a big mall rat.
Yeah,
Mall
Anthony's a
rat.
huge mall rat. Wants to talk malls. You probably visited this mall quite a few times.
This is like our mall. You would go and like hang out there. The movies was there. you know.
I gotta know, what's the best mall walking snack?
Oh my god.
Hmm.
Yeah. I love the place where you get like takeout like fried rice and like chicken.
Oh, hell yeah.
Sarku, Japan.
Oh hell yes!
That's not walking. It's when you sit down. But I do
No,
love
you
good-
walk around eating it with a toothpick.
I do love a good Indian pretzel though.
Oh,
God.
totally. That was my answer
Cinnamon
too.
sugar.
Yes.
Damn, I think a
day.
cinnamon sugar
Yeah.
pretzel. We've hit on it. Anthony is the next picture in the slide. A big Wetzel's.
No, we have Germantown. So you
Oh.
might find some pretzels here.
Okay.
Whoa!
This honestly, I don't want to be attacked for choosing this shot of Germantown because this is what all the photos look like. A
Yeah.
nondescript strip of just flat brown building.
Looks
It's
like
not
a Hollywood set.
recognizable. Yeah, it's not.
I mean, what's German about it?
So it was originally settled by, German families, but they were just like a small portion of the population. It was also settled by English and Scottish folks as well. So there was like one part of the town that they started casually referring to as Germantown, and then it wound up becoming the name of the whole
Interesting.
shebang.
Open MRI is getting a lot of
Free publicity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
free publicity.
Yeah,
Yes.
for the listener at home, there is a store on the strip called Open MRI, which I'm not sure what that means.
I have no idea.
Does that mean it's an MRI that's happening open to the public,
Yeah,
or
no, the
Yep.
machine is
Hop
open.
on
the
in.
machine is the core is open? Well, let's see. Derry, you said you've been there like once or twice.
I think so. I honestly don't know.
I mean, is there anything to see, Anthony? Or
No, it's pretty much it. Like, I hate to be harsh, but it looks like a drive-through town.
Look, blue skies, guys. Blue skies.
if this is a
Definitely.
drive-through town, you'll probably end up getting some sauerkraut or something, huh?
Speaking of driving
Yikes.
through, it's such a small and thin state. Are there any highways that even go through this thing?
Oh yeah.
What,
I mean,
what are your like major interstate highways?
70.
70.
I don't know. I'm
Straight.
so bad about directions, like famously.
That's a good. That's a good highway though.
70 is a good one. Yeah.
Tim is like attracted to highways.
I love that.
Thanks.
No
I
shame
really,
at this
I really
table.
love a good highway.
We don't kink
They're,
shame
they're
here.
very important.
I think 70 ends in Maryland.
Yeah, I would gander that it
Okay.
would, or in Delaware. I don't
Yeah,
know. I
I
have
don't
no
know.
fucking idea.
Regardless-
70 is a hot highway.
Well, you guys are talking about hot highways. I want to talk about hot noses. Anthony, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm a spicy boy, inside and out. I am just dying.
I saw
not-
you put
I
some
can't.
ice in your mouth earlier. Spit that out. How
Well,
you doing?
I was just trying to take a sip of iced coffee, which I certainly don't need because this spice has woken me up in ways that I didn't know existed inside of me.
I cannot even imagine Old Bay going up my nose.
Oh,
That's really brave.
well. Let me paint a clear picture for you. Ow.
All right, Anthony, what is next on the slideshow?
We've
Are you
got-
sure this isn't
Yeah,
Germantown?
this looks like German.
Yeah, this
Look at
look-
the Maryland flags.
Oh, hell yeah. That is cool to see it in action here.
Yeah.
But this is the state capital, Annapolis,
Annapolis.
home of the United States Naval Academy, Maritime Museums, and one of the weirder Capitol buildings in the States. Look at that little squat structure there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it at the end of the road.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow, it's very like church-like. And you know what? This is the home of the Navy, and you guys have an aquarium. What's up with Maryland and all these fish things?
We love it. We
Look,
fuck fish.
I've got a question. You've got Maryland. You've got Susan's. You've got Annapolis. What's going on with all these names?
Oh my god.
And I'm playing the fifth.
What is Derry supposed to say to that?
Come on, guys. I'm trying.
We're doing it. We're doing it.
Annapolis. I mean, where is this centered in the state? Where generally does anyone?
It's on the east. It's towards the East Coast. I'm actually not that sure.
I assume if it's naval stuff, it's got to be near the ocean.
yeah,
But
I think it's more Chesapeake Bay.
so, have you visited the capital a few
Mhm.
times?
I've been there. Yeah, it's cute.
Anything fun to do? Hang out?
I honestly don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, Annapolis is probably where you can probably get like really good seafood.
I bet this
yeah.
feels like I first off, I love the fact that everything is red brick.
Yeah.
The streets and the sidewalks all red brick. It makes it look like a little European town. And Anthony, are those cars parked on the street?
One appears to be in motion, but we've got some definite parked vehicles over to the side.
Sick.
It also looks pretty overcast. Would you say that that's fairly typical Maryland weather, or is it usually a little more sunny?
It's kind of like Chicago in the sense it's like it differs, but it's really fucking humid in the
Oh.
summers. It sucks.
Rough.
And it gets really hot. It can get to like over 100 and it's like humid.
Oh,
It
Oh
sucks.
man.
I would not handle that well.
Oh, I hate it.
I do not have the body for
Me
humidity.
either.
Well, do you have the body for the beach? Let's go to that next slide.
Whoa!
Hey!
Ocean
City.
motherfucking city.
Ocean
Yes.
City.
Or as we call it, Ocean Shitty. It sucks.
I read
Oh,
that
no.
online. I was doing research and like some article was like Ocean City or Ocean Shitty because we don't like it.
Wait,
Yeah, it's-
why the hate? It looks like any other beach town. There's hordes of people going to take a dip.
It's just very unkept and really untidy. It's just kind of like white trash beach.
Mm.
Like that's essentially what people consider it.
But there is a wall where a fake shark's breaking through it, right?
I think so. Yes. I
Okay.
never go to Ocean City.
Good, good.
I didn't grow up going there. So
So this is on the Atlantic, or is this in Chesapeake Bay?
this is not the bay. This is the Atlantic.
Ocean.
This is the
Yeah.
Atlantic. Okay.
It's like
Huh.
where when you graduate. I don't know. You guys probably had something similar in high school, but like when you graduated, you had like senior week. So like we
Whoa.
would go to like Ocean City and just like drink and get really drunk.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, and then
at Ocean City.
go on a bunch of rides. There's like 3 amusement parks jammed into this little area, like the boardwalk.
Very, very loosely amusement park. It's like,
Amusement is not a good word
you put
for
in
it.
a quarter and it's like a pinball machine. That's it.
I mean, like, I can kind of understand why this screams, I don't want to go to this place.
Yeah.
People, especially in this picture, are like shoulder to shoulder on the beach.
Yeah.
This is like my worst
It
nightmare.
sucks. I don't even really like the beach, so it's like I could not imagine going here for fun.
For me, such a big part of the beach is like that relaxing sort
Yeah.
of like natural part of it. And this just looks awful.
Yeah.
Imagine like how many big hairy bellies you're going to see hanging out here. Mine included. No
Yeah,
thanks.
This is a tourist trap for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what? Let's go around the table real quick. Just a quick yes or no. Who wears a swim shirt? Tim?
No.
Okay. Anthony?
I call it a rash guard.
Derry?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
Wow, cool. Way to make me feel like the other in this situation. I'm sorry that I don't want to get sunburned
No,
and have fair skin.
if I'm out there boarding, I'll wear one
and
for
also,
sure.
I have a giant scar from my back surgery that I'm self-conscious about, Stu. So
I
sorry
wasn't
that
trying to make you feel bad. I
Stu-
didn't know you wear a swim shirt.
Of course you did.
What?
Of course you did. We go swimming together all the time.
Come on.
Dude.
Don't you remember when you were asleep on the bathroom floor and I came in my
Yeah.
swim shirt and hopped in the shower?
Yes, and you were just swim shirt, no bottoms, and you asked, "Hey, the surf looks great. I'm about to get wet again," and you jumped in the shower. It's all coming back to me. What's on the next slide?
All right, the next slide, predictably, Fort McHenry. We had to do it. Pentagonal Fort.
Pentagonal.
Pentagonal. That works. It's a fort in Baltimore. It played a crucial defensive role in the Battle of 1812, during which they defended Baltimore Harbor from the British forces, and that battle inspired the Star-Spangled Banner.
Woo!
Mm-hmm.
Great
Ooh.
song, great fort, it seems. And even in this picture, you can sort of feel that ghostly relationship.
Yeah. It's cool.
Wait, is this my house?
This is
Oh,
where
yeah.
this is where you'll be living.
Shit, yeah, this is dope.
It's gorgeous,
I
but
got like a dope ass wall.
unfortunately, Tim, you are going to be just sleeping on top of one of the barricade walls.
That's fine. That's fine with me. Anna and I will have a queen size bed. My little Raven's gonna sleep next to me, keep me company.
Derry, is this the kind of place that you would go on like a field trip? This feels like field trip central.
I feel like I missed that day.
Interesting. You skipped out?
I skipped out. I went to the mall.
Oh shit.
That's a callback from earlier.
Had to get with that teriyaki chicken.
to go teriyaki chicken, walking into Abercrombie and Fitch.
This place looks fine. It seems like a piece of important Maryland culture.
I
but
don't know.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't really
Like,
care. I'm not into like colonial like war shit. So I'm like, I didn't really care about this.
that's tough when you live on the East Coast. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's like a lot of the history.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Damn.
You know, I actually know this because I wrote a YouTube video about castles and fortresses for my internship a couple years ago. This is a star fort, and that means that the walls are shaped like a star, so that the surface area is harder for cannon fire to breach. The folds actually like create smaller targets, and then they're shorter walls. They're not like super high. So they're like denser and thicker. So cannon fire can't really penetrate it. You have to try to shoot the cannonballs over into the center. And at that point, they lose so much velocity that they just kind of fall harmlessly to the ground. You guys are enthralled right now. I'm happy I could impart that wisdom onto you and several, 1,000 children who watched that video.
I feel like the more interesting part of what you just said was that you wrote
Wrote a YouTube video.
a YouTube video about castles and forts.
that one actually might have been on the Go 90 section of DreamWorks TV.
Sick.
Oh, word.
Go 90 still going strong, right?
Oh, gotta go 90.
Go 90. What's on the next slide, Anthony?
All right. Here's another
rough.
piece of dense military history.
Picture sucks.
I know, right?
No, it looks great. Overcast day, dying fields. But this is the Antietam National Battlefield, the site of the bloodiest battle in U.S. history.
Oh shit. I didn't know that.
Over 22,700 people were killed, wounded, or went missing in this battle.
1,000 people?
Yeah.
Went missing.
Or were killed.
Right.
Or
I
wounded.
get, like, wow.
Yeah, so this was during the Civil
my
War. The
God.
Union forces did prevent Confederate soldiers from advancing into Maryland, but ultimately they did suffer more casualties.
Whoa.
Hmm. And what is this big fence we're looking at?
So I'm supposing that this is meant to mimic like the ramparts,
Barricades or something.
that were used in the battle, but I really couldn't tell you. You know, this is just a big flat field like any of those classic Civil War battlefields.
Yeah,
But I'm sure you could see a reenactment on this field.
maybe.
Yeah.
I
Derry, I'm
bet.
sure you've been to this field too.
I think I missed that day.
What are you talking about? You're
You're
not
at the mall
immediately flashing back to the exciting memories you made at
Of
this
like
field?
this one stick in a field.
It looks
I-
awful.
I don't, it does. It just looks like it looks like my backyard.
Yeah, right. It looks like a lot of backyards. I'm. That's the worst part I think about
my
old
God.
military history is that it's all just fields.
Imagine how haunted this place is.
Oh, yeah.
22,000 people dying.
Here's what's crazy: it wasn't even on the list of the top 10 most haunted places in Baltimore.
You skipped Antietam to go to the mall and get Auntie Anne's. All right, let's move on. That was bad.
Whoa!
Guys, the spice has penetrated into my brain.
And somehow the jokes are getting colder.
Oh man. All right, here we have Deep Creek Lake, a man-made lake.
Oh my God! Wow.
Mm,
This is man-made.
yeah.
Yeah,
Man-made.
man-made.
There are-
This place is the shit. This
Oh,
place
yeah?
is
Oh,
awesome.
really?
Damn. All
Yeah.
right, we're starting to hit Derry. So, would you come here often?
Yes, I would go here probably like once a year.
Damn.
So like this is like a lake, but also this is where a lot of ski resorts are.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So like in the winter you go. People have like lake houses here.
Mhm.
So like you go skiing, and then in the summertime you go like tubing on the lake with your boat, if you had one. Not me, but my friends did. Yeah, this place is awesome.
Yeah, less tourist trappy, like more actual like down to earth,
Yeah.
grounded lake experience with the green surrounding you instead of a sea of like fleshy pink.
Huh?
Fleshy pink.
Yeah.
Oh,
beach
you're talking about
bods.
the beach bod.
Yeah,
right.
the thick forest of beach bods.
Gotcha. Okay, sorry. Yeah. This seems like a really nice like lake community. It's interesting that it was man-made. Tim, you mentioned in your opening segment that like there aren't lakes in this place.
Yeah, no glaciers in Maryland.
And you need glaciers to have formed lakes.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they'll like move through and carve out the ground and then melt, and that's what forms a lake.
Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Interesting.
There you go.
So let's
Little
see.
geology.
Let's see another piece of the Deep Creek Lake experience. This is Wisp Resort's mountain coaster. So
Whoa.
God.
Wisp Resort is where a lot of people go to
Yep.
ski
With-
during the winter months, but during the other months, we have a handbrake controlled cart that will take you down the hill at about 28 miles per hour.
Sick.
Guess how long the downhill track is?
Distance wise?
3,500 feet.
Okay.
Zoom in.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's more than half a mile going downhill. And this little girl at the front of this thing looks in danger.
Yeah, this is scary. The motion blur on this is frightening.
Wild. I've never heard of this in my life.
Well, I thought when he brought this picture up, Derry, you were about to go like, "Yeah, had my first kiss on this thing." So, like this thing looks insane.
Yeah, I did watch. And listeners, I do recommend you go on YouTube and you type in the Wisp Resort mountain coaster, and you can see several GoPro videos of people terrified for their lives.
I would also recommend going on YouTube and looking up using Wisp for first time, and you'll see a lot of people brushing their teeth in the front seat of their cars.
And I would also recommend not sniffing Old Bay seasoning.
Yeah, Anthony is only getting stronger as we go on. But a lot of ski resorts have this kind of thing. I haven't seen one on tracks before. I've normally
Yeah.
seen like, they're called concrete slides. And it's this same thing, but you're not stuck in there. You can like hit the rails in the side too hard and go flipping
No.
off. Yeah, it's super dangerous. But I remember doing them a lot as a kid in like summer times when you'd go up to a ski town or something. They're dangerous, and they're a way to make money off of the incline of a mountain when there's no snow on the ground.
Stunning.
Thank you, Derry. Thank you.
All right, so unless anybody has any
No.
any further discussion topics about going fast, let's move on to the next slide.
Oh my
All right.
God.
Wow.
Yeah,
I know this place.
Catoctin Mountain Park. I hope I pronounced that correct. Catoctin?
Catoctin.
Catoctin?
I don't know if that's right, but I don't know.
It's located in Frederick County,
Yep.
Frico.
My sister got proposed to here.
Got proposed to here?
Yeah, they like almost that exact picture.
Wow,
Holy fuck.
Yeah,
that's pretty amazing.
pretty cool.
I actually like that we're all
Beautiful.
sort of connected to this state park in different ways. You know, I grew up around trees, and look at all those.
I grew up around rocks.
Sure,
Look at all
and-
those.
Anthony?
Sky.
Yeah, I was born out in the open.
For all to see.
Mhm.
Open MRI and births. So where is this park, Anthony?
I told you it's in Frico, Frederick County.
So this is very close to where you grew up?
Yeah, like 30-ish minutes.
Okay. It seems like everything is
Everything's
30-ish
30
minutes.
minutes.
Everything.
Maryland.
I live like in the dead spanking heart. That's not a phrase.
The
Dead
dead spanking
heart.
heart? No, that was good.
Of the states. It's like 30 minutes anywhere.
I think that's so interesting on like East Coast states because growing up on sort of the western side of America, there is so much empty space between
Yeah.
things. But like, it's hard for me to remember that you're like a 20-minute drive to Washington, D.C., and then a 20-minute drive to Baltimore.
Yeah.
It's like really not far at all.
Yeah, it's wild.
God damn. Well, Anthony, is there anything else you need to tell us about what is it?
Catoctin Mountain Park. No, it's just a natural park where there's a ton of trails you can walk up and explore. I think
Well,
it's a nice
fine, I've
piece
been
of the
there.
natural beauty.
Let's
of
get to
Maryland.
talking about the next slide, huh?
Nice.
Okay, we've got another state park. This is actually Maryland's first state park, Patapsco State Park.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a shot of Cascade Falls, a little waterfall
Ooh.
within the state park. There's over 14,000 acres of land for this park alone.
Jesus. Oh, wait, isn't this where like the Blair Witch is?
Oh, I
that's-
actually
That's more, maybe actually, that's more West Maryland.
But these are like those giant open
Yeah.
forests that just kind of go on forever.
yeah.
Oh boy, and there's witches aplenty. You guys didn't draw it, but the Witch's Grave is a pretty famous place outside of Annapolis. Thank God no one's living there.
ooh.
This is the kind of place where I'd want to get proposed to, though.
Mhm.
Not
Yeah.
saying that anyone has to propose to me, but if it were to Anthony?
If somebody takes a knee to propose to you, their kneecap's going to get all muddy. Their kneecap's name will be mud.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, baby. I do. Stu, continue.
Yeah, anyway, this is a pretty, you said Cascade Falls, and I can see why. The water cascades down off of so many levels and rocks. It's beautiful in the way that nature can paint a picture more stunning than any man.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Derry.
Hey, Canada.
What is next, Anthony?
All right, finally we get to the famous Chesapeake Bay itself. This is in the Maryland section of Chesapeake Bay. It does extend down to Virginia, but here we do have the Thomas Point Shoal Lighthouse, the National Historic Landmark of
What is
Maryland.
that? What is that?
It's a lighthouse.
No, not the lighthouse, Anthony. What is
Jagged rocks.
like keep going down.
It's a red and white lighthouse on these stilts.
Anthony, there is very clearly a poorly photoshopped picture of what looks like a brown Labrador dog.
Oh, the Chesapeake Bay Retriever,
It's real.
the famous Maryland dog. He's just keeping watch on that lighthouse.
Oh,
Tim,
man.
come on, step in.
Here, I got a sick joke. This is where I want to be proposed to, so I can become someone's Chesapeake Bay.
Oh. And then when you get older, you'll be their Old Bay.
Whoa! That was
Yeehaw.
pretty good. I thought that was solid.
So this dog, I don't know if you know this, Anthony. The Chesapeake Bay Retriever, I have tons of friends who had it. Their feet are webbed.
Oh yeah, because they
Wow.
swim. They
'Cause they
swim
swim.
really well. Yeah. They were used for duck hunting, duck tolling.
Mm.
They could swim right out and grab ducks.
Science has gone too far to breed
Must be shut
dogs
down.
with ducks.
Oh my God.
Well, and unless anybody wants to quack another joke, let's move on to the final slide.
Oh my God.
So here we have the goodbye Maryland slide.
Should
Chewed by
For everybody watching at home or listening, it says it's a picture of Thomas the Tank Engine, and it says Thomas says "Choo choo chewed by Maryland."
Now, I think it's supposed to be should by, like goodbye, but of course, choo choo chewed is how it's read. So What do you mean you wrote this?
I didn't put that in there. This is a shot from the B&O Railroad Museum.
Yep.
And they have a day out with Thomas where you can come and see Thomas with the family.
Man, if this room gets any hotter, we'll have a BO museum of our own.
Oh, man.
Thanks.
That was good. That was really good.
So is this the home of Thomas the Tank Engine? Is this
No.
No.
like an English thing, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's why it's a day out with him. He's not going to be here for a long time, just a good time.
Derry, have you ever visited this railroad museum?
I actually have, yeah. If this is the one that I'm thinking of, it's in Howard County in Old Ellicott City.
Sure.
And I had to do a project on it. So I went and I looked at it, but I've never seen Thomas there, so I feel like this is Photoshop.
No.
I think you just got there on a day he wasn't out. You know,
it was a day with Thomas.
Yeah. He does it once a year. You get to spend some time with Tom and the boys.
And then he says, "Should buy."
Well, I'd like to say goodbye to this whole segment and just get on to rating it.
Yeah,
and, 40 horse teeth, right?
Yeah, Derry, how did I do out of the 40 horse teeth?
Oh my God. I would give you like a 27.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Some
Lower
of
than I
those
was
pictures
hoping.
could have been better, but then again, I do understand that Maryland is scarce. So it's like some of the pictures, like Germantown. What are you going to find in Germantown?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I get it, but I cannot give you any higher than 27. I'm sorry.
Were there any notable exclusions? Anything that really speaks to you that I was missing?
Oh God. My house.
Oh, fair.
That's it. I think.
the
Maybe like
mall.
the Raven Stadium and the Oriole Stadium.
Yeah.
That's like in Baltimore, which we got a picture of. So that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, I'll take it.
You did a good job, Anthony.
You did.
You did do a good job, Anthony.
you.
You got more than half a mouth to horse, and
Unfortunately, though, all those teeth are only on the bottom.
Oh, man.
So it's 20 teeth on the bottom and 7 jagged random ones on top.
Oh, no.
but that's okay because you still have a horse. And, that was the sight segment of Maryland. We're going to move on to the next regular segment that we have for the Statesman. And we're going to be exploring Maryland with our tongues this time.
Here we go.
So I have prepared for you all a little bit of a Maryland delicacy. I have it on a plate covered in aluminum foil. And while I didn't make this from scratch, I did go out to the Whole Foods to buy pre-made ones and then added a little bit of seasoning to taste. So why don't you go and pop open that little thing, and lo and behold, they're just a couple of crab cakes.
My God.
Just a
Derry,
couple
I'm
of crab
so
cakes.
excited.
Derry, I'm sorry. You said that you didn't like crab earlier.
I
and-
do like crab. I don't like the process of picking crab.
Too much work.
It's too much work for literally no food.
Yeah.
It sucks. I do like crab though.
All right, excellent. So I went to the Whole Foods and I bought some crab cakes, and the woman behind the counter told me to fry them up in some panko breadcrumbs, which I did. And then before I fried it up, I put some of that Old Bay seasoning on there, just to really get us into the mood. So why don't we all dig our forks into there and let's see
so
what we
excited.
can pull out.
Okay, everybody's going for it. Anthony's going to have to reach across the table. Tim just took a bite of this crab cake in the most violent way
that
I've
was
ever seen
intense.
anyone
Like
eat.
a crab.
That's true. Tim, very crabbish of you. And while you guys are chewing, I'm more than happy to fill the silence before I take
Wow.
my own bite.
Oh,
but
so good.
That's really fucking delicious. I cannot believe how actually good
Oh,
that
my
is.
God.
Have you guys eaten is crab cake like something that you guys have had before?
Yeah, definitely not all the time, but I'll see it on a menu on occasion. I kind of stay away from seafood when I'm going out to eat because I always feel like there's something on the menu I want more. But what a delicious treat.
Yeah.
yeah, holy
Seriously.
shit.
I would never pick it as my actual meal.
No.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But my sister she loves crab cakes. It's like her favorite food. So I always get get a bite of hers.
No.
What shocks me is that people always go for a crab eggs Benedict, and I'm like, I can't eat seafood first thing in the morning.
Mm.
With this though, I could eat this any day, any hour of the day.
So
This
good.
is so good.
Buttery
It's
and
got,
delicious.
It's buttery and delicious, and it's also got that spice from the Old Bay,
Mhm.
and it's nice and warm too. It really stayed.
I
This is delicious.
I want to eat all of these, and I think it would really make me throw up. I love crab, Derry. You were talking about that the work to get the meat out is
It's
more than
insane.
it's worth. I totally understand that. I think maybe there's something to be found in there of saying like, hey, the fish you catch yourself tastes better than any fish you could buy, right? And this tastes like a crab I caught myself with my own little hands. I dipped my toes into the lake and a crab bit one and I pulled it out and I grabbed the crab and I smashed it up and I rolled it in some bread and I fried it up and here we are eating it.
Props to Whole Food, but man, this shit was so expensive.
Oh, it sucks.
I
dude.
cannot believe how honest to God expensive 4 crab cakes were. It
Really?
was $36.
Whoa,
shit.
my
$36
God.
for just 4 crab cakes. And then the spice was like an additional $10.
Thank you for getting it because
Yeah.
it's
Of
course.
so delicious.
Yeah,
It-
you got the quality that you paid for.
Got
for
that quality.
sure.
And I was debating on doing the crab legs or
Oh.
I was doing crab legs or the crab cakes, and crab cakes was definitely the way to go.
You made the right decision with Derry and with the state in general, I think. I these seem so Maryland to me.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
we were speaking about it. I mean, Derry, you said it. This doesn't seem like a main course kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you're at like a restaurant and someone orders some crab cakes and you can just have a little bit as like
Yeah.
a side, for me that's perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
I just want a hint of the crab tickling my tongue.
It's like an appetizer food for sure.
Yeah.
A little crab dip never hurt anybody either.
Oh God. Yeah, for real.
Okay.
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 Now, out of all the seafoods you've prepared for us, Tim, you don't
Yeah.
you don't always go to seafood. It can be it can be dangerous.
Yeah, it certainly can.
The shrimp ceviche, we
Hey.
remember well. That was a success.
That was a
wildly.
success.
The lobster. Ooh.
Oh, that was a miserable failure.
That was a
Oh
miss.
no.
But now we're coming in with crab.
yeah,
And,
and I'm 2 for 3 right now.
yeah, I mean, Derry, I want to ask you, out
Yeah.
of, I know you're chewing with your own teeth right now,
Sure.
but out of 40 horse teeth, what would you rate these crab cakes?
I would give these crab cakes. What did I give I gave 27 for the last one, 38 for the other one.
38 for
38, I believe.
38.
I
for
give it a
this one.
39. I wouldn't give it a 40
Wow.
because it's not like from Maryland. You can't get
Sure.
a real crab cake once
Sure.
you're in Maryland. But I would give
Okay.
it. It's really good. Maybe I'm just really fucking hungry. But they're really, really good.
So other than crab, and we also talked about Utz earlier. What other dishes out of Maryland do you commonly associate with the state?
People associate burger cookies. Have you heard of those before?
What the hell's a burger
I know.
cookie?
It sounds so gross. I think it's spelled differently though. That's why. It's like a white and black cookie. I can't even associate with what it smells like. It smells.
It's
tastes
white
like.
and it's not like a black and white cookie, like one of those half black, half white.
It is that.
Oh,
It is that.
yeah, I know that as a black and white, but it's called a burger cookie.
Apparently in Maryland.
Maybe that's its like official name, and at some point, people in diners were like,
This is
No, we're not
disgusting."
selling any of these burger cookies."
Yeah. That's what else? I'm trying to think. Burger cookies. It's Old Bay on everything. Yeah. Utz, chips.
More seafood.
Yeah. I mean, if people go seafood, it's always generally crab.
All right.
Gotta love it.
Cool.
Nice job, Tim.
Well, 39 out of 40 horse teeth. My horse is so healthy. And I'm sending him up to Saratoga to race around the track.
But I'm saying hold your horses, Tim. I think we might have one more segment.
One more
before you let 'em
segment,
loose.
Stu. Okay, well, that was the taste segment of Maryland. Stu has prepared for us an audio segment, so why don't you take it away?
With pleasure.
I got your picture, I'm coming with you, dear Maria, count me in. There's a story at the bottom of this bottle, and I'm the pen.
Yeah!
Don't do this.
It's energy at the end of the podcast. That's all-time low, baby!
Fuck yes.
It sure is.
Yeah, we got a bunch of
Oh
fans at the
my
table.
God.
Anthony stepped away from the mic so that he could whip his big hair around. It's
No.
sweaty as fuck.
Hard pass for me. I'm sorry.
Huh?
All time low was a craze that missed me. And
man.
it's not one that you can like look back on fondly if we're on the outside of it when it was sweeping the
Yeah.
nation.
That's
Yeah.
fair, but for the rest of us proud Americans, all-time low speaks for us all, right?
Can't agree. I'm sorry. I can't.
You hate all-time low, or
I'm not really a fan.
Well, what about that song in particular? Of course, Dear Maria, Count Me In. It was one of their first big hits, right? They
Sure.
formed in 2003 from Towson.
Yep.
It's a suburb of Baltimore, if I'm
Yeah.
not. Okay, and they are a staple of Warped Tour. Believe it or not, the band has been touring for like 10 years straight. Like they're constantly touring now as sort of like a nostalgia act. But they still have albums coming out. And as of 2015, the Alternative Press Music Awards nominated their fans as most dedicated fans. Guess
Really?
what?
For All Time Low?
Yeah, and they won, Derry. They won, and guess what they call themselves?
Little Low, Swing Lows?
Lowriders.
See, that's better. The Hustlers.
No.
What the hell?
That's awful.
So
That's
I remember,
bad.
I distinctly remember their line of T-shirts that they released, which were all like bubble letters and like
Yeah.
childish cartoons.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, we were talking
Bright
about a mall
colors.
earlier, but like I feel like All Time Low was a staple of
Topic.
like Hot Topic. Yeah.
Absolutely.
They were very cool. They weren't like so punk and rude that like my parents were scared of them, but
No.
I remember thinking like, oh man, this is cool.
When I think of All Time Low, the sound that comes to mind is rawr.
oh yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, candy on my
XD.
wrists, and I like
Yeah.
to go wow. You know, like it's a very strange time that existed so prominently when everyone had like haircuts that swooped down and like had
Yeah.
bleached little crosses in them and shit. And All Time Low they were kind of the all time high of that particular music.
Sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you think a lot of people in Maryland still stand up and support their music?
I actually did not know they were from Maryland, so
Mm,
but then again, I wasn't really a fan. So
totally fair. But this next one, everyone at the table should be a fan of. Definitely a Maryland local. Definitely someone who speaks for all of us and a lot of the culture of the United
I'm
States.
so nervous.
I hope you live a long life hating and watch every Grammy just to see who they nominating. So successful they probably say I signed with Satan. But
I knew
got
you were
God
gonna
on
do
my
this.
side, always down the ride. Don't get it twisted, I ain't
What are you talking about, dude? That was Logic.
Oh, he's from Maryland?
Oh, he's from
He
Maryland.
reps Maryland hard.
all the time.
Baltimore?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
He loves Maryland. His real name, of course, if you don't know him by Logic, is Sir Robert Bryson Hall II.
Of course.
He was originally from Gaithersburg.
Gaithersburg, yeah.
Gaithersburg, yeah. You know, guys, Logic is kind of the king of hip hop. And before he was the king, he was just an XXL freshman in 2013. And before he was an XXL freshman, he was a real freshman in middle school, where he remembers his brothers distributing, selling crack to their own father. What do you think about that,
wow.
Anthony?
You know, Logic certainly has talent, but not my favorite. I do appreciate how much state pride he has. He reps DMV like very hard.
Yeah.
And I do think he has a story with a background that a lot of people would associate, you know, readily with like the Baltimore area. You know, they have like a big pop culture phenomenon was The Wire, and
Oh,
unfortunately,
yeah.
that was like the first thing that so many people think of when they think of Baltimore.
Sure, it's just like guys selling crack on that orange couch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Logic, I don't know. I think he's such a strange representation of the state and the culture, but he's a talented guy. We can at least say his album, Everybody from 2017 sold over 250,000 albums its first weekend. And that's huge. I mean, success is great for anyone who can relate.
Is he the one that sings that 1-800 song?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know anything about the guy.
That's totally fine. I kind of feel like he's falling off, right? Am I wrong about that? He just did a song with Eminem.
Oh,
Yeah, and he just
no.
released an
Oh.
album, another album.
It's called Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Ooh.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, fucking yeah, dude.
I don't know. I like with the 1-800 song. I really appreciate what he was trying to do, but it sucks. Like when you get a song with such a positive message that's played so much
Mhm.
that it gets annoying, and you're
Yeah.
like, stop playing this shit, even though it is like having a positive output for society.
Yeah,
Like,
it's tough. It's hard
Yeah.
to work with.
Yeah.
I mean, we can all relate to it, but
I certainly can't hate on Logic, but I just don't care. Like, don't care very much.
sure. Well, speaking of someone not caring too much, let's listen to an artist who didn't care about the rules of music when he started to change them.
Oh boy.
Well, I turned around and I said, ho, ho, and the northern lights commenced to glow. And she said, with a tear in her eye,
What
Watch out where the Huskies go. Don't you eat that yellow snow. Watch out where the Huskies go. Don't you eat that yellow snow.
Oh, that is Frank Zappa.
Oh my God.
That's right. Anthony, you were singing along. You a big Zappa head?
Yeah, my dad showed me Frank Zappa when I was arguably too young for the content of his music, but he had a copy of Chic Your Booty in his car, and we would listen to that. I was just telling this story the other day, but I learned what a tampon was because Frank Zappa mentioned it in one of his songs, and I was listening to that song with my mom in the car, and as we were getting out of the car, I was like, "Mom, what's a tampon?" And because he says it that way in the song, we like slant rhyme it. And I was like, "Mom, what's a tampon?" And she's like, "Wait until we get inside." And I was like, "Mom, tell me now, what's a tampon?" And my neighbors were outside and they like locked onto the conversation. But
That's so sweet.
Frank Zappa, really, really interesting.
Yeah, very
strange.
interesting, strange guy who sort of tried to create this like comedy alt rock scene in the 60s and 70s pretty successfully with his band. The Mothers of Invention, I think is who they were originally. He was born in Baltimore, Maryland. And in a career spanning more than 30 years, he composed and produced almost 60 plus albums that launched. After his death, he has released 30 more albums. It is insanity. Like the amount of work that this guy has created is so crazy. And that's one of the reasons that the Rolling Stone ranks him as number 71 on the all-time greatest artists list. And speaking of weird, do you know any of Frank Zappa's children, Derry?
I don't know who this guy is. I'm not gonna lie.
It's totally fine. He's been dead for 25 years at this point, and he was just like a weird, mustachioed, sort of big-haired weirdo in the 70s who, like, while everyone else was making this, like, really passionate sort of music, he was, like, making fun of it all and being, like, very liberal with his ideas and policies and the stuff that he was preaching in the time of, like, Vietnam and stuff. So, cool dude.
Who are his kids?
How many can you name?
I think I've got 2 on lock.
Yeah, so there's 4 of them that I think are cool. One of them is Ahmet. We don't have to talk about them at all. The next most interesting name, Diva Zappa.
And then I've got the other 2.
Oh, do you want to tell us?
Okay, so we've got his son Dweezil Zappa, who
Dweezil.
still tours and plays his music to
rocks,
his day.
Rolls, kills it. But who is his last child?
His daughter Moon Unit Zappa.
Moon Unit Zappa.
Oh my God.
Badass name.
Tim seems super excited about that.
Yeah, I for like maybe the past 30 minutes, I've just been totally baffled by this state and how little I care about it. I'm sorry.
This is such a strange state. The stuff that comes out of it, like the people who come out of it, the culture, the food, it's all so different than what I imagined it was going to be when we started the podcast.
Sure, and it also seems like it doesn't really necessarily all fit together cohesively.
No.
Like, and that really is apparent in its music scene. Like, there's not one defining sound.
Absolutely. A lot of different artists coming out of there. This next one's maybe going to blow your guys' minds a little bit as well. But I think kind of like the stitched quilt of the 15 to 18 counties, you know, this is a stitched quilt of culture.
Tim, if you need a burst of energy, why don't you sniff some Old Bay?
Look, guys, I'm fucking struggling. Let me be silent.
No, Tim, I'm not going to let you be silent because this next song I'm about to play will probably make you get out of your damn seat and dance around the room. Let's hit it.
You may ask yourself, am I right? Am I wrong? And you may say to yourself, my God, what have I done? Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by.
Water going underground. Those were the Talking Heads, of course. While the band formed in New York, David Byrne, famously Scottish birth, came over when he was 2 years old to, let's see, where did he live, Derry? Arbutus?
I don't know it.
Well, Arbutus, Maryland. He moved there at the age of 2 and lived there with his good friend Chris France, who he would go on to create the band with in 1976. They were a founder of that new wave sort of art rock school sound, and as well as an innovator in the fields of analog sampling and experimenting with worldly sounds. Anthony, I know you and I share a passion for the Talking Heads.
Yeah, they're my favorite band.
Do you think that they have sort of any Maryland influence in their sound?
No, I definitely would not have traced that back. Yeah, damn. Just another one that has like early presence in my life. My dad introduced me to the Talking Heads when I was super young.
Yeah, and for good reason. They're sort of an interesting art band that I think I've heard them described before as like a college art band that should not have been successful that suddenly became like a worldwide phenomenon. Like the David Byrne's singing isn't particularly good. Their arrangements are kind of silly when they're first starting up. They all look like fucking dorks, and they just became rock stars. It's crazy. Because they did different things and they were a sound that nobody else was all about. And so you gotta give a shout out to innovators of their time coming from Maryland.
Absolutely. And if listeners, if you haven't done a deep dive on Talking Heads, download all their albums, jump into Stop Making Sense, one of the best movies ever, definitely the best concert film ever made.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, David Byrne goes beyond just the world of music. Of course, in 1988, he won, I believe, a Grammy, a Golden Globe, and an Oscar, all for his score of The Last Emperor, which was the best picture of 1987.
Cool.
That no one remembers or really cares about. But he did win an Oscar for that. And I think he's getting pretty close to an EGOT. So, neat.
Hell yeah.
Neat.
Well,
you guys want to listen to the last segment I have here?
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely.
Okay. Well, this one, Derry, if you want me to start over so that you can sing along, just tell me. And if you don't know what this is,
Oh, I have a feeling I do.
I'm going to crash and burn.
I have a feeling I do.
Let's see. Here we go.
Just kidding. Wait, what? Wait, oh my god. I hate this. I know exactly what this is. Oh, this sucks. Oh, this sucks.
Let Eastern Motors
Oh my god.
finance it all the way.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Call Eastern Motors, baby. That was a
Wow.
30-second plug from Eastern Motors, a Maryland Central car dealership that I found
guess so.
online that people say that song is very important and played all the time.
I never processed that that's just a Maryland thing.
Yeah, it's only from there and online when I was looking for like songs and things that really represent the state. I found multiple websites where people were like, "Do you guys remember that commercial, that car commercial? What was it?" And well, let me just go through the lyrics real quick for you guys. At Eastern Motors, your job's your credit. At Eastern Motors, your job's your credit. Ford, Hyundai, Chevy, Beamers, and minivans. Over 600 cars, trucks, and SUVs. Are you listening, man? Let Eastern Motors put you in a car today. Let Eastern Motors finance all the way. Now, Eastern Automotive Group is a family-owned used car dealership opened in 1998, of course. They've sold over 140,000 used vehicles in their 30-year history.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and with a slogan like "Where your job is your credit," you know they'll be slinging wheels for decades to come. Now, Derry, did that connect you in any way to your home state?
It really did, honestly. I totally forgot about that. So,
Well, I'm glad I didn't just play that 30-second
For
clip
no
for no reason. Yeah. Because it would have been a little bit like a lot of the other stuff I played, which seemed pointless and sort of without any direction. But after this segment, we've listened to 5 things. I am hoping that those 5 things get multiplied by, 8? To get me 40 teeth.
Basic math was so
I
hard in
am
the moment.
so sweaty.
oh my god.
Derry, what do you rate the sound segment?
Well, I gotta be harsh. I gotta be harsh. In this
That is
moment.
very fair. But remember, we have yet to get a perfect score.
Yeah.
And there is a chance.
No.
No.
No?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'm gonna give you a 12.
Okay.
Oh,
Wow.
not even halfway.
I'm sorry. I'm
And
sorry.
which teeth are those? Do you think it's just the back 4 molars, top and bottom?
You took the words out of my mouth with your own teeth.
Damn. All right. Well, I'm gums up front, party in the back. I guess that's the end of my segment.
Yeah,
yeah.
You had a specific inclination when he was about to play that last clip that you knew what was coming.
Yeah.
What was he missing?
I thought you were gonna do hairspray.
Yeah, it's just that I did that. I sang Hello, Lord, the Lord of
Yeah,
Baltimore
Baltimore.
earlier,
Yeah.
and that tanked so hard that
I loved it.
Oh, well,
I
thank
loved
you,
it.
thank you. I guess it was just my own personal, inner critic.
I saw Hairspray on Broadway with some of the members of the original cast, and
Oh,
I
word.
saw Harvey Firestein
Whoa,
That's
in
awesome.
the role. And after the show, it was like a cold winter day, and I had my jacket undone. I was standing outside waiting for signatures on my playbill, and Harvey Firestein comes up to me and goes, "Zip up your coat, kid, or your voice will sound like mine."
Aw, and he ran away into the snow. No autograph. Well,
And I chased him down.
yeah, I mean, Hairspray is like an indelible part of Baltimore specifically.
Yeah.
John Waters
John
directed
Waters,
the
yeah.
movie, and he's from Maryland. So a shout out to weird people from Maryland who go places and create new and different art. We're
It's very
talking
that.
Zappa, we're talking John Waters, we're talking David Byrne, and we're talking Derry MacDermott.
And David Hasselhoff.
That's right, your husband. I
Thank
forgot.
you.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, I think I'm done with my segment. Tim, wake up. What are we doing for the end of the podcast?
All right, thanks, Stu. That was a great segment. You achieved less than half of a mouth of teeth, and
Okay.
I want to applaud you for that. So, at the end of every Statesman episode, we like to talk about how the state has touched our hearts. So, we're going to go around in the circle, starting with Anthony, to Derry, to Stuart, then to myself, to summarize what Maryland does for us. Anthony?
Maryland, coming into this podcast, as I said at the start, I really didn't have any strong opinions one way or the other on Maryland. Kind of a state that I never really thought about, but it has such a deep, important history. A lot of that is military history, which is the kind of thing I would sleep through in class.
Well,
But it also has an important history of abolitionists, and we've seen that it has a real shotgun kind of culture in terms of its output. It has the most unique state flag. I wouldn't say my favorite, but definitely an incredibly weird and different design, which I really appreciate. One of the coolest state birds. A weird music history.
thank you.
With some bands that are very meaningful to me and some that are absolutely not. But also, I get a sense that I would have fit in as a young person in Maryland.
I agree with that.
I think so.
I would have definitely been a mall rat. I definitely would have thrown on some camo and yelled at my mom to make me food when I got home. But I'm definitely my appetite has been whet by this podcast. My appetite for Maryland knowledge has been whet. So I don't know if I'd ever necessarily go out of my way to go there, but there's definitely a little more that's worth exploring to Maryland.
Your appetite's not the only thing that's wet. There's a little sweat on your brow. Before we finish, do you want to tell us how your spice nose has gone throughout the episode?
Yeah. So it started at a 0 pain level. And
But it's gone
kinda didn't
somewhere
feel
else.
it. No, and it skyrocketed, and I would put it up there with the Tabasco, maybe just under, because I did get a nosebleed from the Tabasco, and I think this
On
one
mic, yeah.
was fine. And now the pain has subsided. So in order to finish us off, why don't I just do one more?
Anthony.
That's real. He's doing it. That's real.
Man, all right.
Why?
Why are you doing
Why the
that?
fuck are you
Oh.
doing that?
He does.
Listen, I'm hardcore.
There's some crab cake there too. You can sniff it up.
Sniff some crab.
Please,
Don't
I'm
do that.
gonna
Don't
go
do that.
different.
Derry. How has this state touched your heart?
Oh God, I love my home state. I really do, and I don't really go back that often. But I think it's great. It's weird. Like just going over it, it's so strange that like I came into this being like, I'm not gonna know that much about it, but like everything you pretty much brought up, I was like, oh my God, I've been there. You know what I mean? 'Cause it's such a smaller state that it's like, and the heart of it is like at the heart of the state. Like the western part and the really eastern part are very kind of like separate from the main part. I mean, don't read me for doing that, Maryland listeners. But yeah, it's weird, and there's so much like weird history there. I remember there being a book growing up called Weird History. Do you sniff some more?
No, he's wiping his nose.
I was making sure I didn't have a nosebleed because I put that one up my other nostril, and I'm fine. Please continue.
All right, Weird Maryland.
No, it's just like, there's a book called like Weird Maryland, and it had a bunch of like weird shit in it. And it was like, yeah, that like perfectly defines the state. It's weird. The people in it are great, for the most part. It's like the city of Baltimore is cute. It's dangerous, but it's cute. And And yeah, it's a good place. I suggest going, just hanging out. I'm sure you're gonna have a friend who ends up living there. It's one of those states. It's just like, oh, I gotta go to a wedding in Maryland, and just go into it with an open mind. Okay?
Nice. Stu?
I think that's such a positive message. And I kind of want to, there's that phrase, you hear it with a lot of other states, a lot of other cities, like, keep Austin weird, keep Portland weird. I say, keep Maryland weird. I like the idea that just like this crab cake we have in front of us, Maryland is a mash and a mix and a rip down and a tear up and a build up of different strange ingredients that I didn't think would work together, but once I pop them in my mouth, I'm in hog heaven. So Maryland, I want you to stay weird, keep mixing things up, never do the right thing, do what you want to do and be who you want to be, and don't follow the law, be a law breaker, And by the way, at Eastern Motors, your job's your credit. Tim?
Maryland, I struggled pretty much through this entire episode. I have been running on an excessive amount of exercise, a thorough lack of sleep, and it's 500 million degrees in this room, according to the broken Pepsi thermometer, that I just have lost track of reality, all semblance of myself, and I think that kind of reflects with how I feel about Maryland, which is one of the strangest states that I think we've reviewed on this podcast. It's a weird fucking shape. It's got the strangest musical amalgamation that we've ever listened to. It's got a weird geography and a weird military history and oh man, and yeah, the crab cakes are like a thing that I would never associate with a state like Maryland. It's one that I had no idea I would know anything about ever in my entire life, and now I've come to realize that maybe I don't know any more than I did before that we got on here. So if you have any questions or concerns about the Great 50 States of the Statesman, reach out to us on Twitter at StatesmanPod, at Facebook and Instagram at StatesmanPodcast, or by email at statesmanpodcast@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, rate, and share the show with your friends, because we want to spread the weirdness of Maryland and the rest of the 50 states with your friends and family at home. Derry MacDermott, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate you coming on and just reminiscing.
I loved it.
It feels really good. Can we find you anywhere on the internet, or where people are, where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah. On Instagram, I am at Derry Queen Haha. I'm a drag queen. That's my drag name. DerryQueenHaha. You get it? You get it, y'all? I run a show at the Hideout called Derry Queen's Big Queer Variety Show.
Everyone should go see that if they have the opportunity as well.
Very, very, very fun. It's on Mondays. And once a month, I'm also a producer on a show called Freak Fest at the Hideout, which is a very fun show. Started by Megan Salter, Steve Gerard, and Richie Owens. And I'm on a improv team with a crowd called Teenage Nicholas, and that's it.
Awesome.
All awesome projects.
Yeah,
I gotta say.
Yeah,
Derry,
awesome
thank you
stuff.
so much for coming on. You've always been somebody, especially at the crowd, who I've associated with just being different and fucking cool.
Totally.
And you're always so confident, and we talked about it just before the podcast started, but you're now the reigning crowd improv monarch.
Yeah. I got crowned it last night.
It's unbelievable that we are sitting at a table with the likes of Meghan Merkel, Derry MacDermott.
Thank you.
I mean,
And I do have a new child, just like Megan. So.
All right. Well, on behalf of my junior statesman, Anthony Rossi and Stuart Highcar, I'm your elder statesman, Tim Ferrari. State positive.
Crabsolutely.
A better part of my game would have been Merry Land Before Time. I could have done my clocks or something.
Ford, Honda, Chevy, Beamers, and minivans. Over 600 cars, trucks, SUVs. Are you listening, man? Let Eastern Motors put you in a car today. Let Eastern Motors finance it all the way.